Once upon a time, in a small East African village nestled between rolling hills and the golden savannah, there lived a young man named Mjomba. His village, named Ufalme, was peaceful, its people hardworking, and its soil fertile. Yet, despite the beauty of his surroundings, Mjomba's life was far from easy. Born with only one eye, Mjomba was different. From a young age, the other children in the village teased him. They called him names, laughed behind his back, and treated him as if he were cursed. In their eyes, he was a reminder of what they feared, something imperfect. He could not escape their whispers, could not outrun their judgment. But while the world saw Njomba's disability as a flaw, his grandmother, Nia, saw something different. Nia had raised him since he was a baby after his parents had passed away. She was old, her skin wrinkled with age, her back bent from years of labor, but her heart was strong and full of wisdom. Every evening after Mjomba had worked tirelessly in the fields, he would return home, exhausted but hopeful, to his grandmother's small house. It wasn't much, a humble mud hut with a thatched roof and simple furnishings, but it was a home filled with love. Mjomba, she would say, her voice soft yet steady. The world will judge you, yes, but never forget it is not your eye that defines you. It's your heart, your spirit. You are destined for greatness, even if you do not see it now. Jomba would listen, unsure of her words. The teasing of the other villagers echoed in his mind, and he often wondered how someone like him, with only one eye, could ever rise above the shadows. The village of Ufalme, once calm and prosperous, soon found itself thrown into chaos. Chief Sefu, the powerful and wealthy ruler of the village, was overthrown in a brutal coup. The village had long suffered under his harsh rule, and now his rivals had seized power. The once bustling marketplace was silent, the fields were abandoned, and fear hung heavily in the air. With the chief deposed, the village needed a new leader, but this was not to be taken lightly. The elders gathered at the foot of the sacred tree, their faces solemn as they discussed their options. The people were desperate for change, for someone who could bring stability, someone who could guide them through the storm. And then, as the elders' conversation grew more heated, one of them uncovered an ancient prophecy. It had been hidden in the sacred stone for generations, forgotten by most. But now it was time for the prophecy to be spoken aloud. A man with one eye will rise to lead this village. He will bring peace to the land and restore its prosperity, the prophecy went. Jomba, hearing the news of the prophecy, felt his heart sink. Me, he thought, how could they think I'm the one? How could someone like me ever become a leader? The thought terrified him. What if he failed? What if the villagers who mocked him his entire life were right about him all along? He couldn't understand why they would choose him. He was just a poor orphan, a man who had been dismissed his whole life because of his single eye. The burden of this decision weighed heavily on him. But there was one person who believed in him, Zuri. Zuri, the village beauty, was everything Mjomba was not. Strong, beautiful, and confident. She came from a respected family in the village, known for their wisdom and generosity. But despite her beauty and status, she had always seen beyond the surface. She saw Mjomba's strength, his kindness, and his inner wisdom. One evening, under the glow of the setting sun, Zuri approached Mjomba as he sat by the river, deep in thought. Mjomba, she said softly, I have always known you were destined for something greater. You have a wisdom that others do not understand. You have spent your life helping others even when they don't deserve it. You've shown courage where others have shown fear. I believe in you. Her words, simple yet profound, pierced through Mjomba's doubts. How could he not believe in himself when someone like Zuri, someone so full of grace and wisdom, believed in him? He couldn't hide anymore. The prophecy was not just a call for him to rise, it was a chance to show the world who he truly was. And so Mjomba took the mantle of leadership. The village elders, though skeptical at first, saw something in him they could not deny. His heart was pure, his mind was sharp, and his desire to bring change was unwavering. Still there were many who mocked him. Whispers of doubt followed him everywhere. How could a one-eyed man, one who had spent his life as an outcast, be the leader they needed? But Mjomba knew he had no choice but to prove them wrong. He worked alongside the farmers, the craftsmen, and the healers, listening to their concerns and working to build a stronger, more unified village. He cared for the sick, repaired broken homes, and made sure that the poorest among the villagers had food to eat. Every decision he made, no matter how small, was guided by the belief that leadership was not about power, it was about service. He didn't just want to be a ruler, but a leader who understood the strength of the poor, the disabled, the outcasts, people like him. Meanwhile, Mjomba married the beautiful Zuri in a pompous village ceremony. As time went on, Mjomba's leadership began to show its effects. The fields flourished again, the markets became lively, and for the first time in many years, the villagers began to trust each other once more. They saw Mjomba not as the boy with one eye, but as a man who had earned their respect through his actions, earning the admiration even of those who had once scorned him. But there were still those who doubted him as to whether he was the right leader. One evening, while Mjomba sat with Zuri by the fire, watching the flames dance in the cool night air, she looked at him and smiled. "You've done more for this village than any other chief ever has. You've given them hope, Mjomba. You've shown them that strength isn't in titles or in how you look, but it's inside. You've built this from nothing, and look at what we've become." For the first time, Mjomba felt a deep sense of peace. It wasn't just the village that had changed, it was him. He had learned that true leadership came from humility, love, and dedication. Years passed, and under Mjomba's rule, the village thrived. The people of the village were united, no longer divided by wealth or status. The disabled, once seen as burdens, were celebrated for their contributions to society. And Mjomba, the one-eyed man, was revered not for his appearance, but for the kindness and strength of his leadership. The village flourished, and Mjomba became proof that even the most unlikely people could rise to greatness. And as the sun set over the village of Valme, Mjomba stood with Zuri at his side, watching their people dance and sing in celebration. Their love had grown stronger, their village had grown stronger, and together they had built something that would last for generations. And so the one-eyed man who had once been an outcast became the ruler who brought peace and prosperity to his people. His story reminds us all that greatness doesn't come from appearance, status, or power, but from the heart, perseverance, and from the courage to rise above adversity. Thank you for joining us in the story of Mjomba, the one-eyed man who became a ruler. May his journey inspire you to rise above your own challenges and see the strength within yourself.